Joining me now is Linda Hyokki, who is an analyst who specializes in Islam in Europe. She is also a contributor to the European Islamophobia report. And Erhan Dogan, who is the vice chair of the Political Science and International Relations Department at Marmara University. Welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you here. The piece once again reminded us of the grim picture in which the Muslims live in Europe. We all know that there has been a rise in the Islamophobic attacks in Germany, where just recently a German soldier with Turkish roots was attacked on the grounds that he cannot wear German uniform. And also there is this far-right anti-immigration party's success in the latest elections. So Erhan, what has been going on in Germany?
It seems that there are some deep-rooted problems in German politics, and Angela Merkel's brave attitude regarding the welcoming policy of migrants did not help this kind of deep-rooted reactions in German politics to slow down. And it seems that we can see it after the last election results and with the rise of this AfD in German politics. It seems that German people, at least a fraction of German people, are not happy with these migrant welcoming policies of the German government. This is visible with the outcome of the election results, as I said before. In my opinion, we have to look deeper in order to understand what is going on in Europe and also in Germany. The problem is not just related with winning of a political party some votes in German elections, which were not won by similar parties in the past. In my opinion, the main problem is related with the regression that we see in European economies in general, but this is not particularly true for Germany because Germany was the benefactor of the EU initiative, as you all know. If you look to other countries, we can say it more so, but in Germany, there is an unrest among the people who vote for AfD, it seems. What is the reason of this unrest? The visible reason is the welcoming of migrants by the government, presence and vocal attitudes of migrant communities living in Germany. But there are some other problems like losing the welfare benefits.
Yeah, we're going to get back to that, but I want to stick with Germany again. Linda, the recent report found that there were over 800 crime attacks against Muslims only in the first 9 months of 2018. And experts say the number is actually much more higher, but they are not reported.
Yes.
Why do you think they're underreported? Are people afraid?
Actually, yes, it has been also proven by other reports that the Muslim population as well as other minorities, they do not necessarily trust the authorities in such a manner that they would easily go and report any hate crimes that are targeting them. And with hate crimes, we can, of course, talk about hate speech or violent attacks or even attacks against properties such as mosques or, let's say, Muslim-owned stores or, you know, the similar. But at the bottom line, that is very true that people feel that the authorities are not really on their side. And especially if we look at the issue of structural racism, structural Islamophobia, it also affects the perception of the population towards the authorities. Because when there are cases such as in Germany where, you know, we have found out that in the police forces, in the army, there are people who are connected to far-right movements, to nationalist movements. It doesn't create any trust.
So what should be done to tackle with this problem, not only in Germany, but also all across Europe? For example, in the German example, there is this anti-Semitism commission, which was set up just last year, and now Muslims demand it. So what do you think, Erhan? I mean, more security measures around places of worship would help it, or just to the recognition of the EU institutions of Islamophobia as a as a form of racism that could lead to human rights violations?
Indeed, there are some institutions, EU and Council of Europe institutions, which have been monitoring xenophobia, Islamophobia, and racism in Europe. EUMC was the old name, but the name changed later. Fundamental Rights Association, it became later. So these associations, these institutions follow xenophobia, racism, and Islamophobia. They issue regular reports. This should be done. But the main problem, as you mentioned, is reporting of the xenophobic, racist, or Islamophobic attacks. People mostly think that in Europe, Muslims or other people think that these kind of reportings will not be leading to anything. That is one of the reasons and that we have to fight with. Why? Because if people do not report particular or single attacks, incidents, authorities will consider that they are not happening, but they are there and quite wide.
That's the annual report. European Commission Against Racism and Intolerance warned that public anxieties about global political and economic changes were increasingly being exploited by those scapegoating migrants and minorities. So, Linda, why Muslims are targeted more physically and verbally than other minorities across Europe? Is it because there is no political cost for that?
I have to be honest, I'm not so sure if in every country the statistics speak for the fact that Muslims are actually the most targeted group, because at least in my native country, Finland, the hate crime reporting by the police college, it shows that racist and ethnicity-based crimes are higher than religion-based. But obviously, we also do have to consider that there is a lot of intersectionality going on with Islamophobia. It means that if a person of color is on the streets, he can be attacked based on the skin color, based on the ethnicity, or even based on the perception of his or her religious affiliation. And obviously, in the case of Muslim women, they are very much visible when they are people of color, but also when they are wearing the headscarf. So they are a high
open
target
targets,
of open targets of.
So Erhan, far-right parties have been gaining votes and prominence across Europe, but this increase in vote hasn't been really matched by the participation in government. Why?
Still, Europe has functioning and working memory. The memory of the past, for instance, for Germany is specifically important here. Why Germany, we see this rise of AfD much more later than the other European countries, would be explained by that, but this doesn't mean that it is not there. It is also there. But Germany, with its constitutional system, state bodies, had some developed some precautionary measures to cope with this kind of xenophobic, racist, or Islamophobic activities of some marginal groups. People will understand that they are not the solution for the problems that make them angry. But there is a risk here, which was observed in the European history well. It was also a similar pattern when Nazis and fascists in Italy and Nazis in Germany were rising to power. You know, at the beginning, political center tried to cope with those parties, but later on they hijacked the political system. The only risk here exists, in my opinion, is a repeating of a similar pattern in the 21st century.
Okay, I'm afraid we're out of time now. Thank you for joining me on Straight Talk, Linda.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.